Welcome to Come to Papa on Raw Dog Sirius 104 and XM 150. My guest today is Nick DiPaolo. He's a brilliant stand-up comedian, writer, actor, and radio host. Fans know him from Letterman, The Tonight Show, and Conan O'Brien. He is a mainstay on Comedy Central, appearing on everything from the Celebrity Roast to 2 stand-up specials. His new stand-up special, Raw Nerve, airs April 30th at 9 p.m. on Showtime and will be available for download and purchase on May 2nd. Very excited to have my good friend and this great comedian with me today, Nick DiPaolo. Nick, we did a show for Greg Giraldo, The Benefit of the Beacon. And when we did that show, I was hosting, and what is so cool, and this happens every time that you're on, whether it's at the Beacon or the Comedy Cellar, wherever we are, and I always am conscious of it, you go on, and all of a sudden, the comedians who are downstairs eating celery sticks and Coke Zero come creeping up the steps. And most notably, the staff, like the union guys, the guys who don't move, who've seen a ton of stuff, they don't get off their ass for anything, they're just jaded. All of those guys get out of their chairs and start howling. I mean, really howling. So what is it about you that attracts these jaded people who nobody else can make laugh?
Well, it's, you know how it is. It's, we're like souls, you know? They go, he's a jaded asshole like me. Same reason fat chicks watch Rosie O'Donnell and go, oh, she's just like me. Fat and fucking ugly. Can I say that? And still be successful. But what's funny, you mentioned the union guys. I'm anti-union. I have a whole chunk of my special.
Oh, you do?
Where I shit all over unions.
No.
Well, I love the guys. I like the guys.
The guys, yeah.
I don't like the organizations.
Right, and what politically they're doing.
Well, yeah, I'm sure years ago, unions had a place in this country and would chain a woman to a loon for 18 hours without a shit break to make umbrellas. But now they want $200 an hour to put on a bumper on a GM car. Go fuck yourself. And, you know.
but now these guys are going to cut. Oh, great, it's our favorite guy, Nick.
Look, they're hardworking guys. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Like George Carlin says, once you get into a group and you get armbands and hats, then it starts to get ugly. You know what I mean? But the average guy on Broadway, the guys that move the furniture, what do they call those guys?
The furniture guys?
Yeah, yeah, Bob and Tom. The average salary is $250,000.
Wow.
To do that stuff. So
it is amazing. I just did a TV. I was just doing like a morning radio thing, TV thing in Florida, and I had my mic on. And they're like, okay, you're done. And I just put my hands out to the side.
Oh, we can't.
Because I'm used to you not even allowed to touch your own microphone.
That's right.
If you touch it, the union guys come over and beat you up. Right. So I just put my hands out. They're like, no, we have no unions here. You can take off your own mic.
The guys, I like them. Colin, our buddy Quinn knows all these guys, and I've met them. And they're hard-working stiffs. Right. And they loved my show that was on for 5 minutes in New York. And
did you know a lot of those guys when you were growing up? Is that the kind of the guys you were surrounded by when you were...
Not.
Was your dad a union guy? Was he?
No, actually, you're right. In 6th grade, a bunch of kids are already in a union. They were Italian thugs. No, I didn't. No, my dad. No, he was just.
What did he do?
He was a business controller for my uncle. My uncle owned a very successful machine shop. My dad did the hiring, firing, the books, and
like the white collar, more white collar.
Yeah.
Was he strict?
With me?
Yeah.
Not so much with me. I could come home, 1 in the morning drunk. He wouldn't do anything. My sister knocked right on her ass.
Oh, really?
Which I loved. I sat there and watched it. I was like AJ Soprano when Meadow came home drunk or something. I'd just go, I want to watch.
Italian dads have a hard time with the girls. My father was the same way.
Exactly.
He just did not understand anything but brute force to stop them from going out of the house.
I'll give you an idea. You asked me about that with how he was with my sisters, and this is a true story. My sister was going out with this dirtbag when I was like in 7th grade. She was in high school. This kid, Brian Howe, he had hair down the middle of his ass. He looked like Axl Rose before Axl Rose.
Yeah.
And we went to a football game on Saturday afternoon. The high school was playing. My parents are there. Somehow the kid sees my father, gives my dad the finger. My dad didn't like him.
No.
So my father chases him.
At the game?
Outside the fence. Picture this. My sister's there with all her friends. My father is chasing her boyfriend for like 100 yards, grabs him by the back of his hair and slaps.
Oh, no.
And everybody saw it. The next day, he was known as Big Nick throughout the high school.
Really?
And
wow.
And then
and did she break up with him?
Eventually,
she did.
Yeah, my father gave her.
She didn't fight him. Your father on it? Was she?
Oh yeah, they were those. Yeah.
What did you do?
Yeah. Oh, there was that for a while.
Yeah, and he doesn't care.
No, he's just,
I can see the same thing. I've got these two little girls, and I
there you go.
I see. You just see guys already, just kind of give it like a quick look, and you're like, "What? She's so little. This is going to be horrible."
Well, quit putting her in leather pants, Tom.
She likes high heels.
Yeah.
But your dad, was he a disciplinarian? Was he?
Yeah.
Because you were an athlete, right? You played football, and
yeah,
you were in kind of a discipline.
I'll give you another example. My sister Darlene, my other sister, my older sister.
It was you and two girls.
Three. I got a youngest. I'm in the middle. I have a younger sister, younger brother, two older sisters.
Okay.
But every Saturday night when my parents went out to eat, which they did for 50 years, my sister would have half the high school to our house.
Oh, no.
And I would sit there, and I'm in 8th grade, and they're coming in my bedroom giving me beers and stuff,
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say anything.
Right.
So finally somebody called on, we're having Sunday dinner one, and somebody called, we're having Sunday dinner, and it was some lady asking,
about the party?
Do you know your daughter had a party last night? My son gets sick at it or something. My father, what's he do? We're at the dinner table. He slaps me across the face.
Why?
Because I didn't tell him.
Oh, you're his inside connection.
And I saw this on The Sopranos, this exact scene when they yelled at Meadow for not ratting out AJ when he got drunk. My father cracks me in the face. Hey. What was that for? You're
supposed to watch my back.
That's right. What is this, the Gambino family? But my dad was,
Yeah.
But he was
hard.
Today, it wouldn't be considered abuse, but he was, with me, you know, he was quick with his hands.
Yeah, right.
And I had a smart mouth just like I do now, and had it coming half the time.
Right. But you seem like, I always say to our mutual friends that you really should have kids because you already are like a hard ass. No, you're like a hard ass dad. Like you're like the guy that I could see you at the dinner table being like, who the hell?
Well, that's the thing.
Really, I could see you like at the end of the table, rolled up sleeves, just sitting there, and everybody real quiet, and make sure Dad's okay.
Chew with your mouth closed. I'm not.
Was your mom strict?
My mom was, not overly strict.
No,
she's not. Everybody picture my mom as like an old Italian woman. She's a beautiful French and English woman.
Oh, really?
Yeah. My mother looked just like Mary Tyler Moore when she was young.
Wow.
And my mother was just a great mother. You know, do your homework. She had supper on the table every night.
Right.
Old school.
Yeah.
Just a great mom. My dad was obviously the enforcer, and but I wasn't. I didn't get much trouble. I was good at getting drunk and getting sneaking in my room and stuff.
Did you make him laugh when you were a kid?
No, I made him mad most of the time.
Really?
We have a picture. He was my Little League coach, like when I was like 7.
Yeah.
It's a picture of the local newspaper of him yelling at me and me almost crying in the paper.
Oh, really? In the paper?
I was playing third base. Ground ball to me 2 times in a row. He threw it into the bleachers over first base. And then they show him chewing me out. And it's in the local paper. And all our family's friends cut it out and sent it to my dad. I'm like this. I got like a puss in my face. He's like, got this stern look.
He sounds intense. He sounds like an intense guy.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's got that Italian. Yeah. His old man came over here from Italy in 1901 at age 15 with no money.
Yeah.
And this will give you an idea why my dad was a little strict. His father used to hit him over the head when my grandfather had to buy him new shoes because they couldn't afford them.
Oh, really? You hit him over the head?
He hit my father over the head with his shoes. And then when I was a kid, my grandfather they had a dog. My grandparents, I lived next door.
Yeah.
Every night, my grandfather let the dog out. He'd kick the dog in the ass. And I remember my father going, "Pa, why do you do that?" He goes, "Show him who's the boss."
Are you listening to Come to Papa on Raw Dog, Sirius 104 and XM 150? I have a very similar father. We always joke about it.
I love your old man.
Yeah, my father, we always say that you are the son my father really wants.
I hate when you say that. That hurts me.
No, my father is like, he's a big, tough guy, and he's very, cut and dry, black and white, conservative, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And, and I'm like, I'm going to get a 10-pack at the yoga class. He's like, damn it.
And I'll be honest with you, my dad would be little happy if I was more like you.
Right.
I mean, he doesn't like the way
What?
I don't know. I'm a little too intense for him.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Really? He wants you to. He would be happier.
He would like
if you
me to
were...
mellow out a little bit, which I
Right.
have. I'm talking a few years ago.
Yeah.
When I was single and
Right.
bringing home blouses and
Right.
whores
Do you
to
feel
Christmas parties. I thought I was doing him a favor. I'd bring home a chick on Christmas Eve with a leather miniskirt, and my father used to, I could see him going crazy. He'd be whispering to my brother, "Look how hot this brother,"
Kicking her in the ass just to show her who's boss.
Yeah, but then he yells at me one night. Andy, my wife, who's my wife now, we've been dating for years before I married her. One Christmas Eve, I bring her to my house.
Yeah.
I go downstairs in the basement to watch TV. It's a finished living room. I fall asleep with a blanket on me. My wife comes down while I'm sleeping and sits next to me and starts watching TV. My father comes down and sees me with the blanket.
Oh, no.
And her not. He went ballistic. You don't know how to treat women. What's the matter with you? Grabs the blanket, puts it I really don't like the way you treat women. I go, I was asleep when she came down. I was down here an hour before.
It's hilarious. Andy, by the way, is amazing. She is hilarious. She's attractive,
smart.
And she's so positive and filled with sunshine. Why is she with you?
You know why? Because they look at me. You know how girls are. She saw me and said, "That's a reclamation project. I can fix this guy." And that's how you suck him in. But believe me, she's no ball of sunshine. She has her day,
Does she?
But she's smart, good looking, funny. Most insecure woman you'll ever want to meet. I have no idea why. I'll give you an example.
Well,
we'll be sitting on the couch at night watching TV. A beautiful actress will come on the screen, so I'll start jerking off, right? And she gets furious, like it's my fault, right? The Tyne Daly still looks good at 60. But
no, but you guys, how did you hook up with her in the first place? Did she see you doing stand-up? She did.
She saw me on HBO. Young Comedian Special. This gives you an idea how long we've known each other. That was like in '93.
Right.
She said to her sister, she loves her Italians. So funny, her taste. It's almost sickening. Tony Danza is like her ultimate male.
That's perfect.
She saw me on HBO and Young Comedian Special and she said to her sister, "I'm going to marry that guy."
No.
And comes into Caroline's like 2 nights later. She saw that I was playing there. Or a week or two later. I was on Jon Stewart's show.
Right.
At a local talk show. And she saw me there, too, and he plugged me being at Caroline's.
So she shows up.
Yeah, shows up with her really cute friend of hers.
Just loaded for bear.
Yeah.
Ready.
Both of them. They were knockouts. Matter of fact, I went home with my wife that night, but then I went out with her friend for a couple weeks, and she still holds that against me. I go, "You were both strangers to me."
Yeah.
It's not like I knew you.
She had a whole fantasy. She was already married to you.
And she won the ultimate thing. She ended up getting what she wanted. I mean, she's still pissed about it.
Wow, that's amazing. How long did you date her before you got married?
9 years.
9 years.
So you can tell my heart was in that proposal.
She's also a hard worker.
Persistence.
Yeah.
And you know what? And you know me, I come across as a little misogynist sometimes. She's the best thing I ever...
Well, that's what's so...
Best choice I ever made. Ever.
Really?
Yeah.
What does she do for you? Does she keep you...
she makes it dinner nice. And, no,
but does she keep you grounded?
She keeps me grounded. I mean... Here's the thing. I stayed single till I was 41 and messed around a lot. And I think that was the best thing I ever did.
Right.
Because you find out a ton about women.
Right.
And I knew, she's just, she's way smarter than me. She's my business manager. For a marriage to work, and you know this, the woman has to bring something to the table too, and vice versa.
Yeah.
And she really does. I mean... She's just, and Louis C.K. said to me one night, which I don't like the way he worded it.
Right.
He goes, "She's the best thing about you." And it didn't bother me then, but then I get it's on like YouTube. Now I want to rip his eyes out.
Louis is always good with planting a little something in your head that rattles around for years.
You notice that? Yeah. He's so goddamn smart, Louis. And you're right.
He does.
There's nights where I lay in bed going, "Why did he say that?" Right. I thought it was funny at the time, but you're right.
One time he said to me, like when I was first starting out, he was like, "I'm not sure I like you," and I was like, "Wait, so for years after that, I'm like, well, does he like me now?" He was ridiculous.
He is. He can get in your head, Louis.
Yeah,
you know.
But you say it too. I mean, she really.
That's
is.
why it probably bothered me.
Right. Right.
Look, we don't have kids. That wasn't planned. Not having kids. You know,
You were trying for a while, right?
Yeah, and it's a biological situation with So.
Right. You're going to adopt a...
Yeah, I got my eye on a 15-year-old Cherokee girl who I saw in short shorts at the mall. And
Is she up for adoption?
No, I'm just going to sneak into the Banana Republic where she works, throw a sack over her head.
I'm your new dad.
Look, honey, I got me a Native American. No, so, I'm 49. I think it's too late for that. I got 1,000 nieces and nephews, and I know that's not the same thing.
Right.
But, and it does bother me, Tom. I see you with your wife and kids, and this it bothers me a lot.
It does?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
don't have your own.
But then I get around a bunch of babies on a plane or an airport, and I go, fuck that.
Right, exactly.
I'm pro-choice now.
You get to sleep a little bit.
Yeah.
You're not totally exhausted all the time.
That's right. And you say, I'd probably be a good father. I don't know about that. I'm such a miserable.
No, but see, this is
something changes, right?
What's always been a puzzle for me about you is that if people see you for one shot, like at the cellar or something, and you're going off on something, and they'll be like, you can come off really hard and sometimes misogynist or sometimes, just sometimes hateful, downright hateful.
Sure.
But if you know you, or if you see more of your work, there's this little, I always say to Cynthia, there's a little boy in there screwing around who we all love. And it's until people see that balance, they think, oh, he's just that guy. But then when they but there's that other part too, which is why I think you'd be a great father. And that also why it works with Andy, is because there is this, you're a real guy. You're a sensitive guy.
Yeah. Despite
some of the stuff that you'll say on an off night.
Yeah. Well, but I blame those people for being so stupid to judge somebody after seeing somebody for 10 minutes. Oh, that's who that guy is. Well, you're pigeonholing me.
Right.
And it's usually the people who hate people who do that.
It's
good
point.
It's the left-wingers who claim they're so tolerant, and God forbid I prejudge anybody, yet they love to pigeon. That's what let's be honest, this business we're in is filled by people who don't think like I do.
Right.
And there's a lot of young chicks running the show now.
Right.
And all you do is say one off-color thing about women, and they'll hold that against you. That's why I have a problem with the industry. Hey, you should know. It doesn't,
Right, exactly. Well, I think it's that snap judgment thing. I mean, because when you do a longer set, which people see in your special, which comes out, when is it?
April 30th.
April 30th at 9 o'clock on Showtime. When you see a full set of yours, you get the whole picture.
Thank you.
That's the whole thing. And people don't really, get that at a 5-minute spot at the cellar. Are you listening to Come to Papa on Raw Dog, Sirius 104 and XM 150? Another thing that I think is funny with you is when you're at the cellar or someplace small, which is so great to see you in that environment because it's so alive. But the thing I think that bugs you is you can see the audience. Like when you're at the Beacon, you're just doing your thing. They all have to watch you, but you don't have to see the looks on their faces. And because I know when you look at some young girl who's just like rolling her eyes, you can't not confront it.
You are absolutely right.
Isn't it right?
You are so right. I'm a little too intense for a small room like that. Mm-hmm. They can see it in me. I don't smile sometimes.
Right.
I'm saying something mean. It's still funny. The real comedians are laughing at it.
That's right.
But I don't take the time, and I don't think I should.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm not smiling at that, I'm not going to slap one on for you.
Right. Exactly.
But you're right. And in a small room like that, it'll scare the dickens out of people.
Right.
It
really does.
And you're right. I'm super sensitive.
And you can
up
see
there.
it. Right. Exactly.
You're absolutely right. I like stages that are elevated.
Yeah. When you're separated, you're just the entertainer. They're watching you. It's a show. This isn't us in a conversation.
And the other thing you said, which is important, that you're doing a 10-minute set at the cellar, which to me, it's almost harmful to my act. I was just in Vegas. I'm doing an hour every night.
Yeah, it's different.
That's how comedy in a perfect world is supposed to be. And like you said, they see all of me at that.
Yeah.
They see I bring up stuff about, self-deprecating stuff that I'm not going to do in 15 minutes down there at the cellar.
Right.
I just want to
Then they get to Then they see a different part of you.
And I understand. I had a lot of meltdowns at the Cellar. I got too comfortable there.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I've been playing that place for 18 years. Every night, all of a sudden it feels like it's my house and they're intruding on me, which it's not. It's just the opposite. And then I get a few drinks in me and I get mean.
Right.
And
get angry that you drove all the way down.
Exactly. Now that I live in Westchester. But I know my comedy buddies, too. There's a few years there where I kept melting down on that stage.
Right.
And I see, a few of my buddies kind of. No, I don't know. I knew it bothered them.
Get worried about it?
Yeah,
worried about you.
Only Colin would give me the advice.
Right.
Mr. Wisdom. And I knew even what he was saying was true.
Yeah.
Noam, the owner of the Comedy Cellar, said one night, he goes, "Can I talk to you for a minute?" This is like a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
He goes, I love how you stick your thumb in the eye of political correctness.
Right.
Me and my dad love you for that. He goes, but you're starting to make it even hard on me.
Wow.
So I know they're getting emails from,
But that's not from your material. I don't think it's from your jokes. It's what would happen if you got into it with the audience.
Yeah, in which I'd provoke half of it.
Right.
Just to get bored, and I go, "Why aren't you laughing, dick face?"
There were times when you would get on stage and you would literally get up there and be like, "Thanks a lot. Let's have a round of applause for the MC." What the hell are you looking at? It's like you're not even giving them a chance to like you.
And I know, and it turned off some of my comedian buddies. I know, because they would give hints that, "What are you doing?" And,
here's an interesting thing, because there's two, maybe more than two schools, but there's two schools for sure. In my comedy, and just me as a person, I am trying to have everybody in the world like me and be my friend. I really have this thing inside me. I remember a friend of mine right after college said to me, someone had a problem with me, and my buddy said, not everyone's going to like you. And honestly, I was like, what do you mean? I can get them to like me. I really have that thing. So when I'm up there and I'm like, if I see an old lady, I want her to like me. I see, you know what I mean? I try. And does it bother you if if you see people reacting negatively? Does that get to you? Or do you have a kind of you don't need that from the audience?
From night to night. The longer I do this, the more I don't care,
Right.
But you, Tom, you are so likable. Before, even I saw you as a comic.
Right.
You could pull that off. Almost everybody could like you.
Right.
I know when I go on stage, like Sam Kinison said it best. He goes, "You don't have to like me to find me funny."
Right.
Yeah. And I took
a lot
that
of guys
to heart.
Like the way in, Damon was that way. Like he would get up there and like really kind of be harsh, and even like Belzer or Pryor. I mean, there's certain people. Well, Pryor was a little more lovable, but there is that thing of that, and I'm always impressed by it, because when I see, like that night at the Beacon, I had Cynthia was there, my wife, with her friend who's pretty straight, loves real mainstream stuff, and you were her favorite act of the night, and that is so, I get so excited when that happens, because there's that thing there where they're just seeing more to you than they normally do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That was a short set too, but sometimes I'll show more of myself. If I stayed on the 15 minutes, you would have saw stuff she didn't like. But
Right.
It works both ways.
Yeah.
But when Kinison said that,
I'm sorry, but she's also politically couldn't be further from you.
From me.
And I mean, there's no viewpoint, I'm sure, if we all go out to dinner, there's probably nothing that she would like about what you're saying politically or whatever. But with watching her comedy, she was in love with you.
She probably my pants. I had nice tight pants on.
Yeah, you are a ladies' man.
But my perfect idea of a set is like the Comedy Cellar. Is I could call a woman a cunt and I still get off on a laugh.
Yeah,
and it's happened many times. Not saying it. I mean, somebody who had it coming, a drunk girl yelling shit out, which I've had many of those nights.
Yeah.
When I do my political stuff that they don't like, and then, you're a fucking asshole, and then I get a few in me, and and I end up dropping a C-bomb on it, and I stay on stage and still have a good set after.
Right.
To me, that's the
that's the ultimate.
And I don't ever do that intentionally. I'm just saying, if a woman gets into it with me. But Kinison said, you don't have to like me to think I'm funny. But it's easy for him to say that because he's a fat, chubby, scary guy.
Yeah.
Coming out of him,
Right.
Yeah,
well, there's that kind of thing, too. It's like, you're a good-looking Italian guy. It's not like Kinison was kind of a troll-like guy.
Right.
You kind of feel for him a little bit when you see someone like that. And it's like, if you come off harsh, I remember people saying, like, well, what does he have to complain about? Hey, all the girls in the world love him. Why would he call them that?
Yeah, well, and you'd think they'd give me a thumbs up for being honest, even though I'm being totally honest. And
do you ever not say something? Do you ever censor yourself?
No. That's the fun of it to me.
Yeah.
That people always go, every time I go on a show, they go, well, is there a line in comedy that you won't go?
Right.
I go, there is no line. And I'll tell you, maybe there is a line, but the problem is your line is a foot away. Mine's 50 feet away. Tom Papa's is 20 feet away.
Right.
Where is that line?
Right. Yeah.
I find there's nothing off limits. And I love...
Yeah.
When I love the moment on stage and something's in my head, I go, should I say this or not? And I'll always do it.
Right.
And I'll always say it.
Right.
Just to good or bad.
Right. It's so great. I think that's why all the union guys are getting up out of their chair. Because they're like, this guy's going to say anything.
Well, the union guys do like my bent on I am sort of that working class stiff.
Yeah.
Sitting at the bar next to you, reading the Post and calling Oprah a fat, whatever the fuck.
And there's an honesty to it. There's no bullshit to it. And those guys, they see lots of song and dance. But when somebody comes out and is just being truthful, I think that's what the comedians see. I think that's what the union guys see. I think it's that, this guy is not full of it. This is going to be real and raw, and not everyone's going to be happy about what he says, but he's going to say it, and that makes it alive and exciting.
That's why I do it. I mean, otherwise you might as well be, punching a clock every day.
Right.
Maybe like these guys do. They can't say it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I never take that for granted.
That's right.
It's probably stunted some of my commercial success because they're like, yikes.
Right.
But I'll never take that for granted. That I can go, my job, every night I can go.
Yeah.
And in this politically correct world we live in, and it's getting smaller, and where you can speak off, completely honest.
Right.
Comedy clubs might be the only place left. That you can do it.
You're right.
And I don't take that for granted.
No, that's a big deal.
I mean, I love it. I get off on it.
Right.
And eventually, who knows? Obama might have people stationed at, the funny bone going, hey, I go after him in the Showtime special.
Really?
So I'll probably get audited.
Yeah, that's right. Are you listening to Come to Papa on Raw Dog, Sirius 104 and XM 150? Nick, can we talk about your crush on my wife?
Oh, absolutely.
I was dating her.
Still love her.
For a while before I got married to her, and she was a comedian as well. She would be at the cellar and doing stuff, and you always thought she was attractive and always had a little bit of a crush on her, and I have to admit, sometimes it was a little uncomfortable.
Was it really? Why didn't you say something?
I did. And you were like, I don't care, and you're still staring at her ass.
That's a compliment. When guys look at my wife, which they do still, it's so funny. My wife's on my first CD. She's in the nurse outfit.
Oh, really?
When I'll hand somebody a CD, and I was at a radio station on the road. Some guy goes, "Jesus Christ, look at the tits on her," and I go, "Oh." He's like, "What's the matter?" I go, "This is my wife." "Oh, I'm sorry." He gives me back the CD.
It's hilarious.
But no, your wife. Me and Jerry Seinfeld have the same taste.
That's right.
Because I know Jerry found your wife very attractive, right?
Yeah, I believe he did. I've kind of shut that out.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny how you put it aside.
I think his wife is really attractive.
Absolutely.
Really,
Jessica.
I have that New York Jewish girl, to me, is the sexiest thing on the planet.
And that's right.
I mean, and Jerry's like, what? What
are you doing? I'm helping you out here. His other girlfriend, Shoshana, what was her name? Remember?
Yeah.
The one from Israel.
Right.
She worked out at my gym in L.A.
Oh, and you liked her too. Well, everyone liked her.
And no, exactly. But then your wife and somebody else that Jerry mentioned, and I'm like, what the hell?
Is it hard for you? Because I never really had this problem, and our good friend Geraldo always had this kind of problem on the road. Like, there are always girls coming up to Greg, and you're the same kind of a guy. You're like the bad guy, kind of attractive. Like, the kind of girls that come up to you guys are the ones that want to throw down that night. The girls that come up to me, you're like middle-aged women that want to give me fruit from their bag. But I kind of always felt like, talking to Greg, that I didn't have to carry this burden in a way. Like, as a married guy, when I'm on the road, for me to get in trouble, I have to really put myself into a situation where I can get in trouble.
Yep.
Where I feel like you guys, and correct me if I'm wrong, they're coming at you. It's almost like you don't have to do so much to get yourself in a trouble spot to get out of. Is that true?
It used to be. It used to be, but you've seen my act. The politics really turned the girls off.
Well, yeah, but you have a lot of fans.
My first 12 years in the business, when I was doing semi-clean, not really speaking off the top of my head, and being totally honest how I feel about women and relationship.
Right.
Yeah, I used to have the pick of the litter.
Oh, really?
You know? But
Would you do it consciously? Would you put things in your act like? I know guys sometimes their act is a way to get.
Like Mitch Vitale?
Right.
Guys are dumb. I like big tits. Yeah.
But they know they consciously are trying to get. It's foreplay when they're on stage. They're setting.
I would never.
You never did that part.
Absolutely not. No, I'd put 4 handfuls of gel in my hair instead and wear a nice fitted shirt. But I'm not a sociable guy. You know me, Tommy. Even I don't like small talk. I did it. I was single for years, hanging out in nightclubs, and it became work years ago.
Yeah.
My wife, I always say to my wife, you got me at the right time.
Yeah.
I don't get, it's too much work.
It's true.
I don't have the cocaine money anymore. But
just the willingness to have a conversation.
I'll give you exactly. I'm not going to go through the fucking small talk. I'm going to buy you margaritas till 4 a.m, hope I might get a hand job. Who the fuck needs that? But
listen to conversations about her sister at work and how she might get a promotion.
Exactly. Really? No shit. She works at Supercuts and she's moving up, huh? But I'll give you an example. I was just at the Playboy Club.
Oh, boy.
I was at the Playboy Club this weekend in Vegas. That's where I was doing comedy.
Yep.
It's my second trip there.
Yeah.
First time I went, didn't even go into the Playboy Club.
Right.
Just went back to my room. So this time I'm going. I'm definitely going to go just to see what it's about.
Yeah.
It's Hugh Hefner's birthday. So there's going to be 35 Playboy bunny. I didn't go in. I never went in.
Why?
Because my flight was at 6 a.m. I had a 5:15 pickup.
Right.
I get down to 2 shows. I had my check in my hand.
Right.
My opening act, Joe List, he's like, I want to go up there. I go, he's dressed like a farmer from Kentucky.
Right.
What the fuck? Get your shit kickers on. So I got my check. I'm happy.
Yeah.
I go back to my air conditioned room. I'm watching Sports Center, and I couldn't have been happier. That's how I know my wife is. I'm like, you know how good you got it. I'm not even.
I always feel that too, but you can never get credit for it. Whenever I say to Cynthia, "Do you understand? I don't do anything. I could go get laid up, but I don't." And she's like, "You want a medal? Of course you shouldn't." What do you mean you don't?
They always say that.
I know.
Yeah,
there's something about that. I did that gig at the Palms, and it's there's something about that environment. Everyone there, you can feel the hormones of the place. People are there to get laid. And there's that nightclub there too. That crazy, I forget what the name of it is.
Yeah, it's right where I'm staying at the Palms Tower. That nightclub is right in front of the elevator.
Boom, 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 all night.
And
boom,
it's right
boom.
in front of the elevator. Well, luckily, I'm on the 15th floor. I couldn't hear that.
I was like, I'm going to go in. I'm going to go see what it is. Like, we got a skybox at the thing. I'm like, a skybox in a club? I don't even, like the bars I would go to even when I was single were the ones that were about to be closed down. Like, like
they had a penalty box.
One old guy and like a bad pinball machine. So we go up to the skybox and we're sitting in there and, we're looking down, and there's thousands of people just dancing like crazy below, and we're up top. There's 15 people, and I'm just leaning over the thing. It's almost like I'm like a class trip. I'm like observing what's happening, and this guy comes up and he's like, "Hey, you having a good time?" I'm like, yeah, good time. He's like, "Yeah, it's my girlfriend over there," and I look back, and she's like there with like another girl and another guy, and I'm like, "Oh, that's great. She really thinks you're attractive." I was like, "Oh, okay," and he didn't care what he was wanted from me, so he walks away, and then my buddy came up, he goes, "Dude, these are all swingers." I'm like, "What? We're in a swingers box." I turn around, they're all making out on the couch. I'm like, guy, I gotta get out of here. You're like fumbling with your key at the elevator. I gotta go.
I got a $40 block of porn I ordered this afternoon. I'm a swinger too.
Yeah. The early flight is a good technique. That first flight out is really a good technique because especially, we're not 20 anymore. There's that thing when you've got to get up and get to the airport. So if you have the first flight out at 7, you got to get up at 4:30 to get to the airport. If you go out and party, your whole week is shot, not the rest of that afternoon. Your whole week is toast.
My whole weekend was shot just from taking the early flight out. I got home, I'm a vegetable. Right. Last night, I'm drooling like I had a head injury. I'm sitting in my recliner. My wife comes in, the Sox and Yankees on, and I'm nodding off.
Really?
She goes, "You must be really I couldn't sleep. I had a Latina bachelorette party in the room next to me all weekend.
Oh,
and
brutal.
they're fighting in Spanish at 4 a.m, screaming in Spanish. Lady's got her baby on speakerphone.
Oh, my God.
She's talking to her baby at home. She's in Vegas. And he's screaming on the... It's not loud enough. She's importing baby screams into the room. I call security. The guy comes up, knocks on the door at 4 a.m. I had to call security. He comes up. That's what he does. Opens the door. He goes, "You ladies all right?" And they go, "Yeah, we're fine." Why? Shuts the door. They go back to screaming.
That's it.
Instead of going, "Hey, we get complaints. Keep it down." What the fuck are you doing? I didn't say they were in harm's way.
It's so funny because 20 years ago you would have been like, "Hey, girls, can I come on in?" Now you're there in your boxer shorts. Keep it down.
That's exactly right.
I'm trying to sleep over here.
No, you're exactly right. But it screws me up because I'm only there for a few days, and there's a time difference you have to adjust to.
Yeah.
And the first night I stunk on stage. I couldn't remember half my shit.
No, it's
It's
you really
mentally
have to
exhausting.
take care of yourself. You really, it's like being an athlete.
As you get
have
older,
to-
you do. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, you can get away with it a little bit more when you're young. But
Yeah.
even then, I mean, you know, to do an hour, couple shows a night, it's a thing. You really have to eat right and get sleep. And I mean, it really
Stretching.
I mean, and there are guys that you always. Like when you come up, there's always guys that are wasted on stage or getting high, but those guys all burn out.
Absolutely.
It doesn't really last.
You got to be smart enough to know, because
Yeah.
it is fun. It's like when you go away to
a lot of
college
fun.
for the first time.
Right.
You're like, this is unbelievable. At
This
the
is
Hard Rock
great.
Cafe,
Yeah,
the
this
bar's
is
right
exciting.
downstairs. It's easy to get lost in that shit.
Right.
You
And
know?
then after a couple times around the block, you're like, oh, that place sucks. I'm going to have a headache.
Wake up, I crapped on the ironing board last night. Wow. Fucking...
Well, I got to say, I think the special is going to be great for you. I think it's going to be, like I said, I love when people can open up and see you do the whole thing because you're always pushing it and you're always truthful. And the older you get, the better you're getting, and it's only going to
Thank you,
it's
Tommy.
only going to
Thank you
keep
so much,
getting
man.
better. I think this special is going to be one of those things that people are going to see, and I think you're going to be one of those guys that always improves. It's like the guys that are always writing are always relevant. Age has nothing to do with it.
That's a
And
nice compliment.
I think you're really going to blow up, you young rookie. You.
I it's been a long time coming. It's the first time people will get to see me really uncensored.
Yeah.
I mean, all my specials have been on Showtime.
That's right.
Excuse me,
Comedy
on
Central.
Comedy Central up to
Right.
this point.
Yeah.
And so now they, and I'm not wild, but I
Yeah.
get to say stuff that you might not see on Comedy Central.
It's going to be great.
And I lean a little right, which is odd for a comedian in my politics. And there's a lot of people dying
good.
to have a guy like that.
Yeah, it's also refreshing. It's
I
great,
hope
and I couldn't have asked for
Where'd you learn
a
to
better guy
interview?
for my first guest. You really were awesome. And
Tommy?
keep your hands off my wife.
I've never laid a hand on her. My eyes?
That's what bugs me is I think she likes you too.
I don't think so. I never got that impression. Because if I got that impression, I would have stopped looking at her.
All right, thanks, Nick.
Thank you, Tom.